Testing 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. Testing. Welcome to Gen Z Deep Dive, Season 2, Episode 1, a show dedicated to the world of Gen Z. I'm your host, Aaron Brown, and today we explore FedEx's Gen Z woes. According to a report by FedEx Corp, Canadian Gen Z is 10% more likely to return packages from the holidays. More so, 10% more so than baby boomers. Specifically, Gen Z returns gifts at a rate of 21% compared to boomers at 11%. This is a very frustrating problem for shipping companies like FedEx, as well as retailers who have to cover the costs of the return. All of this is known as reverse logistics. UPS calls the season of returns National Returns Holiday or National Returns Day. This year, National Returns Day came in with a bang of 1.9 million packages returned. For UPS, this was a 26% increase from 2019. But returns last 7 years. So which gifts are returned? Well, Canadian moms, cover your ears. About 2 out of 5 gifts returned by Gen Z came from their mothers. Canadian dads and sisters, only 1 out of 5 get their gifts returned by Gen Z. If you're a cousin, only 1 out of 10. Grandfathers must be great gift givers because only 6% of their gifts are returned in Canada. However, about 1 out of 4 Canadians in general admit that they don't send an unwanted gift back. They just re-gift it later. According to Lisa Lisson, president of FedEx Express Canada, quote, Gen Zs are undeniably driving gift return behaviors. In fact, our survey found that 52% of Gen Zs have returned gifts for cash back or store credit. This generation will continue to contribute to a greater proportion of buyer control. For Canadian businesses, incorporating an effective return solution is critical to ensuring positive customer experiences, end quote. So what are some key takeaways from FedEx's Gen Z woes in Canada? Well, 1, moms, reduce your 36% risk of getting a gift sent back by creating shared wish lists with your children. Typically, you can open this up on a site like Amazon. It doesn't mean you have to buy it on Amazon or the exact same thing, but at least you get a pretty good look at what your Gen Zer is wanting for the holidays. If you're a retailer, how can you reduce returns of products? What are your policies for returns? Does your drop shipper make you foot the bill for returns? These are all important questions that you have about 10 months to figure out. Welcome to Gen Z Deep Dive, Season 2, Episode 2, a show dedicated to the world of Gen Z. I'm your host, Aaron Brown, and today we explore 4 workplace desires of Gen Z. So recently, Business Insider reports a 10-year study of college-age students and the increase in what they want from an employer. So this is a survey that has spanned 10 years. And when you are in that college span of 4 to 5 years, you respond to the survey and it gives Business Insider and companies the ability to see what do new recruits want going into post education. In 2010, about 38% of millennial age college students reported that the attribute of professional training and development in the workplace is important. By 2019, Gen Z aged college students only inched up about 6% upward. When it comes to prospects for high future earnings, millennials reported a 38% desire in 2010. Gen Z inched that up to about 45% in 2019. The clear path for advancement scored low for millennials in 2010 at about 30%. In 2019, Gen Z said it was 40% on their wish list. Flexible working conditions for millennials scored the lowest, around 29% in 2010. By 2019, Gen Z said it was about 35% important. Here's a really interesting find in the study when it comes to declines from millennials to Gen Z. When it comes to challenging work, Gen Z reported challenging work as less important in a future place of employment or desirability. Improving one's skills through sponsorship of future education was also less important to Gen Z than millennials. And fewer Gen Z indicated in the study that rapid promotion was not as important as it was for millennials in 2010. Finally, performance-related bonuses did not change much in desirability between millennials and Gen Z. Now, there isn't much elaboration on Business Insider and Universum's findings. However, we may be able to make some inferences as to why what's important for millennials and Gen Z in the workplace increase or decrease from one generation to the next. So one, let's take a look at professional training and development. There tends to be this idea that millennials think they are ready for management and leadership opportunities right out of college. Heck, they think they're ready for them in college. As a millennial, I think there is a lot of truth to this. So millennials may have indicated during their college years less a desire for professional training and development due to them already thinking they are ready for leadership roles in their first job. Prospects for high future earnings. So number two, prospects for high future earnings. Millennials are what we call at the Institute civic heroes. This means millennials care more about changing the world for good than money. Gen Z, on the other hand, went through the financial crisis, which unfortunately molds them into a more materialistic generation. For us here at the Institute, it's no surprise that money is indicated as more important for Gen Z than millennials. Number three, a clear path for advancement. If millennials think they should have the leadership role in their first job, then why would millennials care if a company mapped out a path for job promotion? Now, Gen Z has a greater anxiety in the workplace. This was actually indicated in a Society of Human Resource Management report late in 2019. So Gen Z has a greater anxiety in the workplace, and they want to make sure they can do a great job. One way to help Gen Z know if they are succeeding is knowing the clear path to promotion. But be warned, Gen Z will expect you to keep the promotion path as laid out. Number four, flexible working conditions. This indicator is curious to me, as millennials tend to want more work-life balance and in the past have really fueled the gig economy, the ability to work 6, 12, 18-month contracts and then move on to another workplace or opportunity. So Gen Z does too, but they also want a stable job. What we have to keep in mind is flexible working conditions was last on the list and scores the lowest on the list. So maybe what we think drives millennials and Gen Z, we have to think about it not as this flat horizon of they want all of this, but they actually do have it meted out in a hierarchy. Now, let's explore the declines in what millennials versus Gen Z reported. Number one, challenging work. Now, this is not necessarily a surprise here. Millennials want to change the world. Gen Z has high anxiety from snowplow parenting and a lack of confidence in their ability to succeed in the real world. Challenging work is not usually a hallmark of adaptive artist generations like Gen Z. Historically, a generation like Gen Z goes for structured, routine occupations. Number two, sponsorship for future education. Gen Z is afraid of paying more for college or just simply tired of going to school. About 1 out of 2 Gen Z report school not preparing them for the real world. So why would they want more of no preparation from college if that's the way that they perceive it? Number three, rapid promotion. First, I don't think Gen Z expects rapid promotion. I think they're more cautious. Second, I think the idea of rapid promotion probably increases anxiety, which is not what Gen Z wants more of. Finally, number four, performance-related bonus. Millennials wouldn't be interested due to their wanting to change the world. So money isn't the big driver here. Gen Z likely simply does not expect bonuses. They're just hoping for gainful employment. A friend of mine here in the Springs operates his own cabinetry business. He's a very talented, hardworking Gen Zer. He gave his Gen Zer a year-end Christmas bonus. The Gen Zer was shocked and cried. Probably not for the money, but because the Gen Zer perceived he was valued in performing well on the job. Welcome to Gen Z Deep Dive, Season 2, Episode 3, a show dedicated to the world of Gen Z. I'm your host, Aaron Brown. Today, we explore Gen Z gets scammed. Is it another Nigerian prince asking you to hang on to his money? A phone call saying the IRS is sending their agents to collect? A good old-fashioned deadbeat boyfriend siphoning off the cash flow? Who gets scammed in America? It's grandma. It's got to be grandma. We love her, but grandma always falls for the scams. Or is it? Actually, it's millennials and Gen Z who are the victims of scams. And about 1 out of every 4 scam victims are aged 39 and younger. It's estimated millennials and Gen Z are scammed to the tune of $450 million over the past 2 years. So why is this? If you grew up pre-internet, then you never truly trusted the internet. If you grew up internet native, it's always been part of your world. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's where you do business, where communication takes place. How do millennials get scammed? Usually through email fraud and fake checks. Millennials and Gen Z lost $70 million recently on buying stuff that never got delivered. I have to admit that I too am a victim of this as a millennial. According to the Better Business Bureau, when a Gen Zer is scammed, they lose less money, but are more susceptible to getting scammed. So you may lose less money, but you're just getting scammed more and falling for it more frequently. According to Catherine Hutt at the Better Business Bureau, quote, "We were initially surprised by the results. For years, the stereotype has been the little old lady as the scam victim. So we were genuinely surprised to see that older Americans basically had gotten the message and were less at risk than young people," end quote. Which scam is the most potent? online purchases. Victims tend to lose 3 out of 4 times there is a scam online. Specifically, the Better Business Bureau reports that scams have risen greatly on social media platforms. Essentially, a Gen Zer sees an ad on Instagram, goes to a website that looks like an online retailer. It looks legit. But slick websites don't mean legitimacy. Millennials tend to use apps like Venmo to pay for purchases, which doesn't come with federal protections. Credit cards are actually safer than other electronic forms of payment like PayPal. What are the consequences of getting scammed? It's not a loss of money, but you also develop feelings of loneliness and isolation. So just know that grandma isn't the likely victim anymore. It's a Gen Zer. And when that Gen Zer is scammed, it increases issues of anxiety, depression, loneliness and isolation that actually increase anxiety and depression. And so we run these natural mental physiological risks of damaging our Gen Z's mental health when they fall into these challenges. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this episode of Gen Z Deep Dive Week 1. Join us every week, and we'll get back with you.